Assalamu alaikum, my dear student. This is Miss Aisha Anwar from Biotic Academy. Hope you people are enjoying the lectures which we are discussing here in our academy, and your concept regarding the processes are getting much more clear. So today we are going to discuss about the importance of respiration and how this process occurs in the body, why this process occurs in the body. Respiration is basically a process where the body uses oxygen to release energy from digested food. Here you can see the equation: glucose plus oxygen. Glucose we are getting from the digestive system. After the digestion of the food, we get glucose, the simplest form of the food, and cell receive this glucose, and then cell receive this oxygen from the breathing system, and together cell will break down glucose in the presence of oxygen in the mitochondria of the cell. Mitochondria is the organelle which is responsible to do the cellular respiration, where it breaks down glucose molecule in the presence of oxygen, and as a result it produces carbon dioxide, which is a waste product again, and it needs to be exhaled out of the body. It also produces water, which is also a waste product for the body. It needs to be removed out of the body through sweat and urine, and along with it, it produces energy, which is a useful material for the body. Means the cell use this energy to perform its metabolic activity. So this is all about respiration, importance of respiration, and why we need oxygen to breathe. Now, if we talk about respiration, we will definitely go towards the types of respiration, that is aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. There are two types of respiration going on in the body of living organisms. Specifically, we will talk about humans, so we are following two mechanisms. Usually at rest, we are following aerobic respiration. That is a type of respiration where our body basically takes in oxygen at an appropriate amount, and it doesn't require any extra amount of oxygen, and it produces ATPs in a sufficient amount. But anaerobic respiration basically takes place in a condition where body is in need of more oxygen, and this especially occurs when the body is having any physical activity, or the body is at stress of with reference to the use of energy. If the body is performing any physical activity, or if we are performing any activity which is putting the body in stress with reference to the utilization of energy, then body starts performing anaerobic respiration along with the aerobic respiration. So what are the characteristics which make these two ways of respiration different from each other? If we talk about aerobic respiration, which we are usually having aerobic respiration when we are at rest, or we are performing our daily routine activities, so we are performing aerobic respiration at a time. Starting material, as I told you, that the process of respiration concerned with the breakdown of glucose molecules. So in starting material, or you can say the reactant for this reaction, is basically glucose in both of the pathway. Glucose is basically the breaking down of glucose in the cell to release energy out of it, is basically a process which is called glycolysis. So first step, breaking of glucose, is glycolysis in both of the pathway, aerobic and anaerobic respiration. In both of the pathway, the breaking down of glucose in the cell cytoplasm is basically glycolysis. Now, use of oxygen. Here in aerobic respiration, we are using oxygen, and in anaerobic respiration, we are not using oxygen. Why we are not using oxygen, although we are respiring? Basically, anaerobic respiration occurs at that time when the rate of breathing is not capable enough to supply sufficient amount of oxygen to the cell. Means the breathing rate will not exceed above that standard rate, and it will not be able to supply much more oxygen than the requirement of the cell. So the cell, in order to get maximum energy out of glucose, it starts breaking down glucose in the absence of oxygen. Although it receives oxygen, but that oxygen is basically used in aerobic respiration. So if the need of the energy get increased, so the body will start performing anaerobic respiration along with the aerobic respiration, where it will not consume oxygen, but it will break down glucose molecule in order to produce a little amount of energy in the form of ATP. Now, where these type of respiration occurs, cell location. Here, I have told you that glycolysis is the process. This process basically having two stages. First stage takes place in cytoplasm, and the next process takes place in mitochondria of the cell. And in anaerobic respiration, this process only occurs in cytoplasm because the stage of respiration will take place in the mitochondria of the cell requires oxygen. So that is the reason this process occurs only in aerobic respiration, not in anaerobic respiration, because we have seen that anaerobic respiration does not require oxygen. So that is the reason it will not perform the next stage, which has to be taking place in the mitochondria of the cell. Now, what is the product? After the process, after the reaction completed, we have seen that the product is water and carbon dioxide along with the ATP. And in case of anaerobic respiration, in the human body, in the human muscles, we produce lactic acid, which builds up in the cell if we perform any stressful activity or any such activity where the glucose is broken down in the absence of oxygen. So it produces lactic acid in the muscles. Now, number of ATPs produced in aerobic respiration, the number of ATPs altogether produced is basically 38 ATPs. And in anaerobic respiration, it produces 4 ATPs. Now, in both of the process, 2 ATPs are used further to complete the process. So, the net gain of the ATP in aerobic respiration is 36 ATPs, and in anaerobic respiration, the net gain is 2 ATP, because out of this 4, 2 ATPs are further utilized in the next part or next stages of the respiration. So the net gain is 2 ATPs in anaerobic respiration and 36 ATPs in aerobic respiration. So you can see how the amount of ATP generation is basically different in both of the pathway. Now, when we are performing anaerobic respiration, I told you that we produce lactic acid in the muscles, and this lactic acid is not good for the body. It has to be removed of the body. So how it is going to remove out of the body? It is going to be broken down in the glucose molecule, and some of the toxic material are removed out of the body. So in order to perform this breaking down process of lactic acid, body needs an excess amount of oxygen in the body. Now, when we stop our stressful activity, when we stop our exercise, we start taking deep breath. That deep breath is basically a condition of oxygen depth, where the body is now going to charge about the amount of oxygen without which it had broken down the glucose molecule. Now the body needs the replacement of that loss, or the body needs the replacement of that oxygen which it was in need when the body was in stress. So basically, oxygen depth is a condition which is also called as EPOC, that is excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. Excess post-exercise oxygen consumption is a condition where the body needs oxygen, more oxygen, in order to rapidly replace ATP and remove lactic acid. In order to remove lactic acid, body needs this oxygen so that body can start aerobically and break down this lactic acid. And this lactic acid will produce only in the case of anaerobic activity. And we can observe, we can calculate the amount of oxygen which is being used in the process of oxygen depth by analyzing the oxygen consumption before and after the exercise. So we can see the excess amount of oxygen we are breathing in after the end of any stressful activity. We can compare and we can calculate, okay, this is the amount of oxygen which we had taken, which we have taken after the exercise gets over, in order to break down that lactic acid which has been built in the muscles of the body. Oxygen depth is used to compensate for oxygen deficiency. As I told you, that this basically you can say the demand of the body, because body needs oxygen, continuously supply of oxygen. But when the body follows anaerobic respiration, because it was not able to compensate that amount of oxygen at that time of anaerobic respiration, body is now going to charge that amount and will take back this oxygen after the end of the exercise. So this is how oxygen depth is important. And we take deep breath. I hope you have understood this topic of gaseous exchange and respiration and types of respiration with reference to ATP generation. You have understood all the concepts which I have explained you, and you will keep watching Biotic Academy. Don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. This is Miss Aisha Anwar from Biotic Academy. Take care.